live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Thanks for joining us on 2 News Live. I'm Brian Schnee. It is a special Tuesday here in the state of Utah. It is day number 1 of the Utah Legislature 2024 General Session. So for the next 40 plus days, there's a good chance we'll be talking about things that can impact you and yours in various facets, whether it be education, whether it be health, whether it be public safety, you name it. There's a lot to talk about here over the course of the next month and a half and really see what lawmakers are deciding here inside this big building behind me, and also the Senate and House buildings that are behind that. So we have a lot to discuss here tonight. If you'd like to get in touch with us on the show, you can use the hashtag 2NewsLive to join our conversation. Of course, we would love to hear from you. Would love to hear your thoughts. Earlier today, I put out a couple of interesting bills on social media, specifically on X. One that is definitely getting a little conversation. Another one that has to do with a proclamation for bringing Major League Baseball to Utah. There's a lot of things to weigh in, so I encourage you to do that. Senate leaders are promising that education will be a top priority here in the session this year here in 2024. A lot of different bills involved in the kickoff here. They've already been drafted. Of course, there's the opportunity where we will see more being drafted, potentially pushed forward as we move throughout the session that are not in place right now. There's a bill in place right now that could mean big bonuses for certain teachers. There's another bill pertaining to fake threats towards schools, some stiffer penalties there. Paul Nelson has been talking to lawmakers today and also just seeing what's going on there at the Utah State Capitol. It's always a busy day one. The energy is high. Paul, how would you describe it?
Well, for right now, I mean, the only thing that's happening at the moment right now, there is a Senate Health and Human Services Confirmation Committee that's scheduled to start right about now. But apart from that, it's kind of it for the day. The House read a lot of bills, just kind of listed a whole bunch of them at first, and then they actually did get to pass quite a few of them. A lot of them happened without, real kind of intense debate. But what we are expecting is over the next 45 days, one of the things that Senator Luz Escamilla, she's the minority leader, she said that the last couple of weeks have already been draining, already been trying for her. She was kind of losing hope because she is a member of the minority party, and we do have a supermajority Republicans. But she says she got an unexpected phone call from Kurt Bramble, and that actually kind of elevated her spirits, and she started to feel a little bit more trust in the process again. That was said in this morning's opening session. But as you mentioned, a few of the education bills that have gone forward, one that was passed actually does pass, I should say, out of the House. Has not gone to the Senate yet. But it does increase penalties for anybody who calls in a fake bomb threat, a fake, some sort of hoax at a school, and it increases them up to a second-degree felony, especially if there's a student that is involved in doing it. That student could also be suspended or expelled if it's serious enough. And this was being worked on by Representative Ryan Wilcox, and he says he started working on this ever since back in March, when a lot of Utah schools were actually hit by a fake bomb threat that was actually made by somebody outside of the country.
So, Paul, I know you're inside the rotunda today. I'm outside. It's chilly out here. I'm sure you are aware of that, of winter time in Utah. But yes. In terms of the rotunda, it's very interesting because sometimes during session there could be, unique groups that show up. Some interesting people that just do unique things in the rotunda. Did you see any day one theatrics, I guess, that were non-lawmaker? What did you see? I'm curious. It's fun in there.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit ago, during my 5 o'clock hit, there were some people that were from the SLEA, the Salt Lake Education Association, and they were holding a rally that basically just forwarded all of the talking points, all of the bullet points that they wanted to have heard this year. They wanted to kind of promote all of them. So it was loud, it was boisterous. They had speakers. We were worried about being maybe drowned out for the 5 o'clock hit, but there you go. I do find it interesting. I've covered weather stories where I'm out in the cold, freezing, and so I feel your pain, Brian. But at the same time, though, I don't. But the other thing that's happening also is that they were talking about the Senate availability happened today, where they talked about their main points. They wanted to focus on water conservation, energy independence. Education was a big thing. As you mentioned, there was one bill that they're very excited about. If it does go through, it's not finished yet, but if it does go through, it could actually give bonuses so large to high-performing teachers that their yearly income that year would be $100,000. Now, that has not been figured out. It still has to be fine-tuned. However, some senators actually say there could be a problem with that. They believe it's not necessarily fair if you compare one class that has high-performing kids to another class that might have kids that are maybe, having other problems that the high-performing kids aren't facing. And they say it's basically really hard to figure out exactly how well a student is growing just by the metrics. So, I mean, there's always some controversy, even though a lot of people are already in favor of giving teachers more money.
All right, Paul Nelson inside the rotunda there in the Capitol for us on day one. Pace yourself, Paul. We got a lot of session to go. But if you are interested, there is a rally happening on the Capitol steps right now, and I do not know what it is for. But if you want to go check something out, people are cheering and having a good time over there. Paul Nelson with us on 2 News Live. So moving on from education to public safety. As you've heard, there are hundreds of bills that are introduced in the general session. Today I spoke with the Utah Department of Public Safety Commissioner Jess Anderson. We spoke about a number of topics, but a big one that we've covered here at 2 News is the topic of road rage, the lives that it impacts, the behavior on our roads here in Utah from certain drivers. Right now there's legislation in play that addresses road rage in House Bill 30. I asked the commissioner about that.
This is a big one, where I say big in the fact that it's significant, and as far as we can tell, no other state in the union that has addressed road rage as clearly as a definition. To which this bill that we have requested this year and put in priority on is to address what road rage is, and then also the penalties with it, associated with it. So, understanding that several people, right, who it's easy to get frustrated, and it's easy to fall into the trap of aggressive driving. Well, the fact of it is, though, is we are really asking people to make sure you check yourself and do not allow that to cross the line into some sort of behavior that becomes in a road rage situation, otherwise acting aggressive towards another motorist. It's very unfortunate, with this last year, some 800 plus incidents that we've had in road rage cases that have been reported to us. That's significant. Not all of those were caught, not all of those were intervened, but the ones that we're seeing significant increase, 11% increase from the previous year, but a significant increase of the use of firearms, brandishing of firearms, even shots fired, firearms, people dead who have been assaulted or killed, to even ramming of cars and side swipes, you name it. We've seen an increase in all of it. And we're just here to say, listen, be better than that. Remember who you are, what you represent here in the state of Utah. Everybody's watching, right? And we don't want to have this uncommon occurrence of the fact that Utah drivers are out of control. That's not who we are.
You alluded to penalties. What would you like to see in terms of changes to penalties associated with the definition of road rage?
Yeah, so the way the bill's written right now is the fact that it'd be an enhancement.
Let's continue to go in depth on this right now in terms of public safety legislation being introduced here on the Hill. House Bill 56, which looks at airport law enforcement adjustments or amendments. And what this really looks at is putting DPS forward to potentially take over the law enforcement duties at Salt Lake City International Airport. It's not defined as that, but it's defined as an airport that sees over 10 million travelers a year, and that would obviously include Salt Lake City International. In essence, this would involve DPS taking over law enforcement duties at the airport from the existing people that do that, which is Salt Lake City Police. Take a listen to Jess Anderson talking about that.
Initially, just looking at it, you're about 63 officers. And establishing everything that's administratively that goes along with that, right? So it's its own little city within itself. That's patrol, that's investigations, that's everything from running canines and the budget of all of that, which is already there and the way the bill is written, right? That's us contracting with the city paying for that service. And so it really is an opportunity for us to step in and do it. It would take a recruitment effort for us to find that many troopers to be able to step in and get them trained up, and as well as get all the equipment needed to be able to do that. But no different than what we've done in past times with new roadway construction, and last year taken on Bangor Highway and the enforcement of that, which will come this year, July of '24, as well as other new roadways. And so we see the expanse. We've dealt with expanse over time, and if that were the case, there'd be an opportunity there for even those who are already working at the airport to be able to meet the standards of the Highway Patrol and bring some of those on that are interested in doing that.
As the legislative session continues, stay with 2 News. We'll, of course, be tracking those bills and issues that impact you and your family. Be sure to download the 2 News mobile app for breaking news alerts from the Utah State Capitol over the next month and a half. So also happening in Utah today, First Lady Jill Biden touching down in Salt Lake City to campaign for her husband and advocate for educators. Amanda Gilbert has been following the First Lady's trip here, which included a stop at a local school. Amanda, what was her message for students and educators today?
Yeah, I'm at Hunter High in West Valley, and her speech wrapped up around 4:10 today. Things quickly cleared out, as you can see, though. Dr. Jill Biden was here for about an hour. She talked about the importance of educators and about the importance of educators' well-being, especially after the pandemic. And she was joined by Utah's First Lady, Abby Cox, also by the U.S. Surgeon General. She was greeted by 30 students. Now she is making her way to Park City. She has 2 private fundraising events there tonight where she will be campaigning for the President's 2024 campaign. And then she's expected to leave tonight, probably leaving Utah around 8:30, and she'll be making her way to California, where she will continue her trip. Back to you, Brian.
All right, Amanda, thank you for the recap there. Always exciting when someone of that notable, stature comes to town and has a message for our students here in Utah. Former President Donald Trump, meanwhile, resoundingly won the Iowa caucus, and now all eyes are on the state of New Hampshire for what comes next here, talking presidential and what would look forward to another election campaign for President Donald Trump. So Ron DeSantis, who finished second in Iowa, Nikki Haley came in third, did not deliver the surprise showing they were hoping for. Haley needed a strong showing, really needs one next week in New Hampshire if she wants to have a shot in winning the nomination.
Haley has to convince them that she's the pragmatic choice. The way to do that is she needs some polling that shows that she's still within striking distance of Donald Trump, let's say by the end of the week.
DeSantis traveled to South Carolina following his time in Iowa. Former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy both suspended their campaigns following the Iowa caucuses. New Hampshire voters head to the polls a week from today. So as election season continues, stay with KUTV2 News. We will have the latest on poll numbers, interviews with candidates, of course, posted online, also on our KUTV YouTube page. All right, well, it is cold out here. I feel like the roles are reversed. Trent Parker should be outside.
No.
I should be in the studio. It's not that way right now. I don't know how to feel about this, Trent. I'll give you this. How does that feel?
A little breeze.
That's how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, well, you're doing a lot of heavy lifting, so it's good that you're getting outside to cool off for a couple minutes, huh? A little bit of a hothead that Brian Schnee is. All right, high temperatures today across the entire nation. Very cold. We're not the only ones dealing with this cold weather recently. -10 was the high temperature today in Kansas. Actually, no, these are low temperatures. My apologies. I have to actually change that real quick. I was going to say these are a little bit cold for that, but low temperatures today. -10 in Kansas City, 7 below in Chicago, 9 degrees in Memphis. So yeah, colder across portions of the south central portion of our country, including Texas, Midland at 11, where we sat at 12 earlier this morning, 3 in Boise. So we're not the only ones dealing with this cold weather. That's the main focus right there. Here are some lows from today across the state. 15 below in Logan. So that's not terribly unusual for Cache County, but it is very, very cold up there in Logan. -10 in Rock Springs as well. Big old goose egg in Vernal. 12 here in Salt Lake City, like I just said. 12 in Milford as well as Cedar City, and we're in the upper 20s down in St. George. So even cold down there in Washington County, even though they've not been getting a whole lot of winter weather recently, they've been getting the cold weather, at least in the overnight hours. So here's some lows tonight. It's going to be a little bit more mild, 11 degrees in Logan, so we're going to bump those temperatures about 25 degrees from where they were yesterday morning, or I should say this morning. 24 in Provo, 19 in Nephi tonight, 31 down in St. George, and we're going to have some clouds and precipitation building out of the west, and it's mainly going to impact northern Utah over the next couple of days. I do want to show some pictures that we've received on Chime In because you guys have been sending some awesome stuff. Here's one picture that Colleen sent in. Awesome shot. This is in Butler Basin up Big Cottonwood Canyon, and you can see there's just a line of avalanche activity extending a huge swath of this ridgeline. I mean, and this is a southeast facing slope, as you can tell from the light illumination. I imagine this was taken early in the morning, so beautiful shot. Here's another shot of that exact same avalanche, this one from later in the day. Credit to JP who submitted this on the Utah Avalanche Center's website. This is another picture of that Butler Basin avalanche, and you can even see some activity here on the periphery, and then that line of avalanches that just goes all the way across. For anyone that knows, this is Gobbler's Knob up here, a very well-known peak up there towards Big Cottonwood Canyon, and the avalanche danger continues to remain high, so please be careful. We don't have any avalanche warnings right now, but that does not mean that it is good to get out and just go willy-nilly, so please stay off of and under slopes that are greater than 30 degrees. And then this awesome shot, I wanted the snow sculpture shots and we got them. So this awesome one from Josiah and Heidi Lawson, Chime In photo. I imagine this is up in northern Wasatch Front, if not our mountain valleys, where they got a little Calvin and Hobbes action going here, a really big snowman. So thank you for sending all those pictures in. We love to see them every time that you do. So we do have a first alert weather day for Wednesday. This is for northern Utah, a mix of rain and snow for Salt Lake County and south. And it's going to be mostly snow north of Salt Lake City. So slick roads are likely, especially along the northern Wasatch Front. And here's the timeline for that. The snow will start just after midnight tonight, and it's going to last through about the noon hour. At least that's when we're expecting the most of the road impacts to be. After that, it looks like we're going to really transition to rain across a lot of northern Utah, so the roads won't be too bad. We do have winter weather advisories in effect for all of our mountains here across northern and central Utah, and no winter weather advisories here across Salt Lake, Utah, or Tooele counties. Everything's going to be north, so Davis, Weber, Box Elder County, and Cache County, you are under a winter weather advisory, and that rolls through 5 a.m. on Thursday, so we could be potentially seeing a little bit of some leftover showers overnight Wednesday night and into Thursday morning as well. Here's that storm right now, increasing our cloud cover across Nevada and eventually the West Desert as it moves in here tonight. Future track, the high resolution one, puts that snow right in here about 2 or 3 a.m. very early tomorrow morning. And as you can see, a couple spots here of rain mixing in at times, and it is going to be southwest flow at the surface, so Salt Lake County does not do well. Utah County will actually do a tiny bit better as far as precipitation and snow totals go, but as we can see, as we roll it through about 7 a.m., we could have a little bit of snow mixing in here in Salt Lake County, but I don't imagine a whole lot of accumulation out of this because the roads will be primarily wet and those temperatures will just be marginal. But we will see snow from Salt Lake City north, and of course up in the mountains, it's just going to be hammering all day tomorrow. It's a pretty quick but heavy hitting storm system that's going to affect the northern Utah mountains. We have that snow and rain extending all the way far south as about New Harmony, and then St. George gets cut off, so no precipitation expected for you. And as you see, as we roll through the afternoon hours, we get a couple chances of some snow showers up there in Cache County and the mountains, of course, for the most part, as we head into early Thursday morning. So here's the totals that we are expecting. Those are not the correct totals, but Park City, first weekend of Sundance is this weekend, and it's going to be a pretty chilly one, and we've got a couple chances for snow. So Thursday and Friday, the first 2 days, we're going to be good, low to mid 30s, and then we're going to be in the mid 30s again for Saturday and Sunday, but there are better chances for some afternoon snow showers there over on the Wasatch Back. In St. George, we're going to be dealing with the mid to upper 50s for the next couple of days. Clouds building in for the weekend. The best chance of rain showers is going to be later this weekend, rolling into Monday, as well as those temperatures dropping into the low 50s. Here in Salt Lake City, first alert weather day for tomorrow, low 40s for the next couple of days. So we're actually getting a little bit more mild, and then a good chance for some more rain showers as we head towards this weekend, but I wouldn't be surprised to see these rain showers maybe mixing with a couple snowflakes at time. Hopefully you're staying warm up there, Brian. It was pretty cold when I headed out to McDonald's a couple hours ago, and I'm sure it is now completely cold now that the sun has gone down. There's no warmth left.
Trent Parker goes to McDonald's and doesn't get me anything? Come on, Trent. I will tell you, we are, it's easier when you're walking around, keeping the blood flowing. When you're just a sitting duck like this, it gets cold, man. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, you need a
It
beanie
definitely
to
gets
protect all
chilly
the
here,
heat
even
coming
though
out
I'm
of that
used to
head.
it. I know, a lot of heat coming out of the head. I really should keep it in and bring it back there for ARC Salt Lake at 7 o'clock. All right, thank you, Trent. Remember, you can weather app to know about the changes heading your direction. Of course, you get that live radar, all those forecasts and everything you need to know. The Follow Me feature, it's also on the 2 News weather app. And of course, you should know this by now, but 2 News Live is always streaming. We're in a variety of different platforms. You can find us on News on Stir. A lot of our programs you can go back and watch if you miss anything on YouTube. We would encourage you to do that. Also comment on there. You can do so on Facebook. Would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching 2 News Live. Here's a special edition here on the Hill for day 1 of the 2024 general session. I'm Brian Schnee. Thanks to JD for pulling a quick one here, staying cold with me tonight on 2 News Live outside. Of course, Paul Nelson, Amanda Gilbert, meteorologist Trent Parker, everyone back there at the 2 News studio. Have a great rest of your night. We are back tomorrow for another edition of 2 News Live. We'll see you then.
live, streaming, and on the KUTV app. This is KUTV 2 News at 6.